Hi everyone, welcome to Program Primers. Today we have two execs from the McMaster Undergraduate Society for the Chemical Sciences, also known as the MUSCs. My name is Isabel, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm a Sciclone, and I'm also part of the Sciclone fundraising committee.
Hi everyone, my name is Sonia. My pronouns are also she and her. I am a Sciclone as well as part of the fundraising committee as well. And we have our two execs from MUSCs here to interview with us.
Hi everyone, my name is Nagar. My pronouns are she, her. I am one of the MUSC co-president for this incoming year. I am going into my fourth year of Honors Chem Bio Co-op. And one of the reasons I chose this program is because it is one of the smaller programs in the second year, like life sciences. So it gives you a chance to really get to know your cohort and your profs. And I found that to be really beneficial and helpful for me. So that's one of the reasons I decided to come into the program.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and my pronouns are she, her. I'm going into my fourth year of the Honors Chem Bio Co-op program, and I'm the VP Graphic Design on MUSCs. When I was choosing my second year specialization, I mainly looked at three different criteria. The first being the profs. I went to the Meet the Profs event for the department, and then I just gauged their personalities and their teaching styles to see if it was a good match for me. Secondly, I also looked at the descriptions for all the required courses to see if I was genuinely interested in the content. And third of all, I looked at co-op opportunities because I wasn't set on co-op yet, but I wanted to keep my options open.
Perfect. So with that, we can get on to the first question, which is, what specializations does your department offer?
Yeah, so our department actually offers three different specializations. So there's honors chemistry, and it can be with or without co-op. So any of these specializations, if you decide in second year that you want to do co-op, you separately apply for that. And there is an application process and an interview process for that. So you have honors chemistry, you have honors chemical biology, which is what Rachel and I are both in. And then Rachel will touch on the third one.
Yes, this is a very new program and it's being offered for the first year this coming year, and it's called Honors Sustainable Chemistry. In addition to our specializations, the department does offer minors that people can complete if they want to major in something else, but they're still interested in chemistry.
Okay, great. Moving on to the next question, what courses are taken in second year?
Yeah, super good question. So Chem Bio actually has, like specific to Chem Bio, and I think kind of similar for chemistry, has a lot of required courses in second year, so you don't really get a ton of electives. But we'll touch on some of the courses and we'll talk about if they have like lab components or not. So one of the courses that we take is analytical chemistry, and it has a lab component to it. So it's pretty much weekly labs, and you have to do like lab reports for it and different kind of like statistical data, which everything will be taught to you in the course. Like you don't need to know any stats coming in. One of the other big ones in our department is the organic chemistry. So you need to take Orgo 1 and 2, and they also have labs, both of them. So as you can already see, it's a very lab heavy kind of year. We also have Chem Bio 2PO3, which is physical chemistry. So you need to take that. That one doesn't have labs, but it does have tutorials. And then we also have Inquiry, which is required for chemistry and Chem Bio students. And I found it to be one of the most useful courses because you get to learn how to like analyze literature, how to present that to your profs. And also like you get to know everyone in your cohort because you get to do things in groups, which I found were really useful. So Rachel, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, we also have a dedicated lab course. For the Chem Bios, it was Chem Bio 2 LO3. For the Chem and Sustainable Chem students, it has a different code, and their grading scheme is slightly different. But this course is completely dedicated to teaching you how to conduct laboratory research. So I found this one to be the most physically taxing because it's a 4-hour lab and you're standing pretty much the whole time. But I learned a lot from it, and I'm super thankful that I took that course. So yeah, it's very heavy with labs. In addition, for the chem bios, we have some mandatory bio and biochem courses. I took biochem 3GO3, which is just nucleic acids and proteins. And then I also took biology 2BO3 in second year.
Yeah. So you get an option between taking like biochem 3GO3 or I think 2 other biochem courses. So it's kind of up to you which one you decide to do. But yeah, those are kind of like seen as your electives. You don't really get a ton of space to take anything else for second year.
Awesome. So next question, what are some of the research and co-op opportunities like in your program or the different programs offered by your society?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like Raja and I can definitely speak a lot to this since we're both doing co-op right now. Just to touch on the research opportunities, there's a ton of research opportunities within our department. So again, just because we are a close-knit department, you can definitely reach out to the profs that teach your courses, or if you go on the chemistry and chemical biology website, you can see what the different profs, like what their research is, and you can just shoot them an email, maybe set up a meeting with them. And a lot of students end up working for profs for a summer project. So they work 4 months in the summer, and usually they can apply for different types of grants that allows them to also be paid during that time, which is really, really good. If you decide to do co-op and you get into the co-op program, the co-op office provides like a job board with a bunch of different opportunities, but you are also open to doing your own personalized job search. That's how I found my job. So I currently work at SickKids, and I do I work in one of the research labs there, and how I went about that is just kind of like looking at the directory and kind of breaking down what you're looking for. So there's all these different like biochemistry, and there's like biology, molecular biology, so you can kind of like look through them and send an email, short, but also you can describe why you want to be in that lab and what you like about the research, and then hopefully you get an interview with them, and that's kind of how the process works. But there's definitely a lot of also industry-based jobs that are on the job board, and I have a lot of friends who worked in industry, and that's kind of like how they found their jobs. But there's really no limit into like what you can do, and there's just a ton of opportunities in Ontario and also like outside. I know friends who worked in BC, Montreal, so definitely also space to travel. And Raja, if you want to talk on your experience.
Yeah, so with my experience, I also went through a personal job search for my first co-op term, and I ended up applying or reaching out to a prof that I met in first year. I had volunteered with a professor in first year, the summer of my first year, and then when I entered co-op, I decided to reach out to him again and say, hey, I'm in co-op now. Do you mind if I come work in your lab? And because I already knew him, the application process was a lot less stressful than I would say if I was applying somewhere new. So yeah, and to give some context, when I emailed in first year, I didn't have any research experience at all. That was my first experience, and I simply sent an email introducing myself saying, hi, I'm very interested in your research. Would you like to meet? And then it went from there.
Yeah, I also want to add that like I didn't have any prior experience in research when applying to my current job. So just make sure to know that doesn't hold you back and that you still have other skills to offer. And everybody has to start somewhere. So it might as well be this job that you're applying to.
For sure. And the next question is, what jobs can you get after obtaining this degree?
Yeah, so many students actually from our program end up going to graduate school to pursue a master's or a PhD. But there's like a wide range of things that you can kind of do after. Also know a lot of people go to pharmacy school. A lot of students end up in medicine, law school. And Raja, if you kind of want to add.
Yeah, so I also know a lot of people that go on to work for the government, like Environmental Canada, where they analyze soil samples or water samples. They also go into food science, which is a lot of fun. And then I have a couple of friends who are also into the cosmetic industry, and so they go on to work for cosmetic companies in R&D and make formulations for the cosmetic products.
Yeah, and I think something to note is that Chem Bio gives you like a lot of good critical thinking skills and a lot of communication skills that can really be applied to like a lot of different job fields. So just necessarily because you have a science background doesn't mean that you need to continue in that. You can go into consulting, you can go into policy. So there's just a ton of opportunities.
Awesome. So last question is, what is one pro and what is one con about your program?
Yeah, I would say one of the pros is kind of why I chose the program, as I mentioned earlier, is just the close community. You kind of get to know everyone. And even though it can be rough at times, you're kind of going through it together. And I think throughout my second and third year, I was able to build a really good relationship with my profs. And I found that really helpful and made my whole experience more supportive through that. So that's something I would say is a pro. A con, or more of like a challenge, I would say, is that sometimes it can be really difficult to balance all the things that kind of come your way. Specifically, as we mentioned in second year, there's a lot of lab components. And I feel like it just never stops. There's just constantly things that are due and are happening. So I feel like that could be a little hectic, but more of a challenge than a con.
Yeah, one of the things that helped me the most in second year was definitely how supportive the profs were, because there aren't that many of us. I think there's around 60 to 80 people in each of our core cohorts, that the profs really do have time and make the effort to try and get to know you and help you. One of the biggest challenges I went through in second year was definitely learning to not compare myself to my peers, because there were so few of us and we get to know each other. It really starts to become hard to not compare yourself. But going through this program and with like the supportive community, we really learned to like cheer each other on and support each other and help each other grow.
Okay, amazing. So that wraps up all the questions. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. If there's anything you want to promote or like let the first years know, you guys can go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So we usually do a review session for chemistry midterms and exams. Not exactly sure all the logistics for that, but keep an eye out if that is happening. That will be on your avenue, which is where you get to access all your courses. And then also as second year specializations kind of come around, decision making in like March and April, we'll probably be present at some of the events that the MSS is going to be hosting, where they have like all the different second year specializations, and you get to kind of ask people questions and kind of get a personal experience. So those are kind of the things I would say. And Raja, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, just keep an eye out on Instagram. We are McMusks, which is MACMUSCS. Just check that out. We will constantly post when we have events on there.
Okay, great.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.